Okay, so this is what happens when you try something new. So let me scoot. I literally was trying something new um, as I began my this live. So I really was literally trying to try something new right on the spot. Um, and lost my I lost where I was. So give me a moment to figure it out. Give me like a few minutes. I'll get to it in a second. Mm-mm. Give me 1 second. Okay, cool. Close that. Give me 1 minute and I will be with you. Okay, great. Yes. This is what, one thing I'm not afraid to try something new. And I figured it out. Sometimes things get out of my control, but I figured it out. So I am excited to share this content with you. Um, as I begin writing the notes down for today, talking about loving, understanding, healing all of you. Loving, understanding, and healing all of you. Let me say that one more time. Loving, understanding, and healing all of you. So, if this is your first time ever watching any of my videos, my name is Cami Knight, and I am a messenger. I help people heal from their subconscious fears and their belief patterns that's oftentimes rooted in our childhood. This is definitely groundbreaking. I do believe that I'm called to do it. And so I'm here to share this message, not only because I know that it helps change lives, but I know for a fact that it has changed my entire life. Um, 8 years ago, I had an epiphany and I had an encounter with God because my life was very chaotic. And I cried out to God in my mother's car while driving, leaving home from the gym. And God met me in my mother's car and spoke back to me and began telling me um, all the things that I had been carrying um, ever since I was a child, why I felt that wasn't enough. I was carrying a lot of internal baggage. I was carrying a lot of internal weight. And it not only showed up in my emotions, but it also showed up in my physical body. And so for many years, I had been struggling with my weight, struggling with accepting who I was. Um, Battling with many different things, and I thought that the answer was in fixing the external. And the more that I began trying to fix things outside of me, the more chaos I began feeling inside of my heart. And I quickly found out and realized that it was not because of the answer was not in fixing the outside. And God began showing me and showed me how to plug within, showed me all the wounds that I was carrying, showed me all the baggage that I was carrying, and that it wasn't who I was. And that not only that it wasn't who I was, but I was getting ready to go on this process and that God was going to restore the areas in my life. And so I took the process, I took the leap, I took the faith, and I literally, um, the things that God spoke over me, I literally saw the manifestation of that by me simply taking those steps, taking the tools. So I know what I'm talking about. I know what it feels like to live in a world within your world, inside of you, to live in a world of deep depression and to smile in front of everybody else. I know what it looks and I know what it feels like to carry um, voices in your head that says that you're not good enough, that you're not smart enough, that you're not pretty enough. Um, I know what it feels like to go to sleep at night, to close my eyes, but to have a restless heart. I know what it feels like to be loved and not be connected to the love that I desire to have for myself. I know what it feels like to feel looked over. I know what it looks like and feels like to feel abandoned. I know what that looks like. And because I have taken the journey to unveil, to heal, I really am able to really see that in others. And not only see that in others before they even open up their mouth, because I know what carrying pain looks like. I know what wearing a mask looks like because I did it for many years. I dysfunctionally functioned. And I also know what it is like to be vulnerable with yourself. I know what it is like to develop a decent, healthy, and holistic relationship with myself. I know the Lord. I know what it means to know that God will never um, uh, the omnipresence of God is always sharpening, developing you, equipping you, um, showing you signs, revealing who you are. Sometimes I think the noise of the world, maybe the inner chatter within ourselves, brings about our own sense of we grow deaf in our own ears because of the noise that we're mostly adhering to. And oftentimes the spirit is speaking, that oftentimes we do see and have the answers in front of us and around us, but many times what's why we aren't able to receive that, why we aren't able to see it or hear it or even oftentimes feel it, is because of what we are carrying internally. Is because of what we are carrying internally. So I want to share with you today. I wrote some notes down. I'm going to take my time with you, and I'm going to complete the notes today. I'm feeling led to complete everything that I've written because I believe that somebody needs to hear this. If you have a notepad or anything to write on, I would recommend you write this down. Um, and so, yes, this is, I'm one of those people where I know that I'm called to share this message. And I would share this message if I remember when I was younger. Let's hear me out before I say what I was going to say. I remember when I was younger and we would be on our way to church, and I remember seeing preachers on the corner like preaching the gospel, and I oftentimes remember seeing preachers on the corner like preaching to nobody. And I really do believe that just the vibration and what you say, your voice matters, and that what you have to share, what you have to offer, it doesn't matter that your voice is worthy of being heard, and that you have a message inside of you that needs to be heard, that needs to be shared, okay, for whomever sees it, whomever passes it. Okay, this is, I believe, how we replenish the earth. This is how I believe how we nurture the earth. This is how I believe how the planet becomes what it needs to be when we start nourishing our souls, when we start doing the heart work, when we start doing the internal healing. And so going to be sharing tools with you about how to love all of you, the lower natured part of you that I'll talk about in a minute, the wounded part of you, the part of you that you might be embarrassed, that you don't want to share, that you might want to suppress. Um, we're going to bring both parts to us. Now, the other side that I also want to share is more of the God nature of you, the spirit man, the sometimes it could be, it might be not fully awakened yet, right? You might feel that maybe that tapping at your heart, that tugging at your heart, and you might not fully tap into it. um, that intuitive feeling, that intuitive guide. Well, I'm here to help bring about that awareness that that you have within you, and understanding that we all have that intuitive guide. We all have that speaking to us, guiding us, leading us into the path of truth, into the path of enlightenment, into the path of abundance, into that path of truth. But I think oftentimes what gets in the way of that is our own, like, fears, or our own ego, or our own identity in which we feel we are rooted in. Okay, so I want to share with you the first 6 years of my journey was really getting to know and heal that part of me. The first 6 years of my journey was getting ready to really getting to know and heal that part of me, the part of me that didn't feel good enough. I had to sit with the part of me that felt that I wasn't enough. I really had to sit with and allow the healing to take place. Allow God to do the work in my silence. Allow the voice that said that I wasn't enough to really sit with that and really ask, why do I not feel enough? There was many times where I really had to sit with that and really understand where that message came from, to understand it, to not judge it, and also, most importantly, to not allow it to lead my life. And I think that is the most profound thing that you could ever do, is to understand who is leading your life. What is leading your life? And what I mean by what is leading your life, what I'm saying is that we all have two sides to us, right? We have the side that might tell us that we are, maybe someone might have told you that you weren't enough and you believed it. Maybe you might have felt because you made a mistake that you're inadequate. Maybe even the fear if you are a perfectionist, afraid to mess up. Just all of the trepidations and fears and heaviness that you might have carried inside of you and within yourself, that oftentimes can be our own self sabotager. I really want you to understand the importance of recognizing that that part of you can be healed if you allow it to um, go with you on the journey. Give me a minute, y'all. I forgot that my dog, there's a neighborhood dog, and I'm going to close the window. I'll be right back. All righty. So, okay. So great. So now that we can get back. to what I was sharing. And so it's taking all of you with you on the journey. It's taking all of you, accepting all of you. And I want to stop right there because acceptance is key. And many times we have been taught that even if you think all the way back in school, that if you do something bad, you're either put in a corner. For some of us, we're reprimanded with a belt. um, for some of us, we're either shamed. Um, the punishment lingers longer than it should. Um, instead of um, reprimanding in love and reprimanding in that brings about building up the confidence, building up who you are. Saying, okay, you made a mistake and it's okay. These might be the consequences, but I'm not leaving you. These might be the consequences, but I still love you. These might be the consequences, and let me help you along the way. These might be you might have messed up, but you're still great. Mistakes actually is what helps sharpen your character. Um, some of us, may have not been discipled or disciplined or nurtured properly. And because of the errors or the shortcomings that our parents have, or guardians or whoever was over us that had authority in our lives, may have spoken some things over us, and because of what has been spoken over us, um, oftentimes the messages that we've spoken to back to ourselves and agreed to it. Well, maybe I must be a bad person, or maybe I might not be enough, or maybe they're right. Especially it depends on who said it. I'm gonna say that again. Especially if especially if it is who said it. Well, if my grandmother said it, then I must not be enough. Or, well, if my father said it, I must not be enough. Well, since my mom was around, maybe I was never enough. Maybe they're right. These messages, oftentimes as children, that we aren't aware of, that gets deep seated in our minds. And so we carry this internal baggage. We carry these messages as truth. And it shows up in our lives and our reality. And if you were like me, as you show up in this reality, you might find yourself trying to still fix it tangibly. You find yourself trying to fix it physically. And you're repeating the same cycle over and over and over and over and over and over. And you say, well, it must be true. It must be true. If if this keeps happening in my life, but darn it, it must be true. And I'm here to tell you that it's not true. There's a verse in the Bible that talks about thinking on these things, whatever is good, whatever is lovely, thinking on these things, right? And oftentimes, when we are listening to our shadows, when we are listening to those messages as our truth, it becomes this reality in our lives and we aren't aware of it because we haven't dug deep to uproot what we are planted in. Because what you are planted in, you produce. I'll say that again. What you are planted in, you produce. And so, how does one take all of you, the wounded part of you, or the part of you where you built your sense of identity, where you built your sense of who you were. How do I take that part of me with me as I evolve into really who God has really designed me to be? How do I take all of me with me on the journey? How do I take the former me? How do I accept me? How do I accept my addictions and also accept who God is forming and unveiling and revealing and strengthening and pruning? How do I accept what I did in the past as God is shining light and showing me who I really am? Because as God is shining light and showing me who I really am, there's still a part of me. There's that part of me that I still have to take with me on the journey. There's still a part of me that's with that I recognize that is still wounded. There's a part of me that still doesn't feel like I'm enough. There's a part of that's not me anymore. I'm just saying that hypothetically. Okay. I want to say that again. That's not me anymore because I don't have those, I don't have those beliefs anymore, those belief patterns anymore. But I did for a very long time, even in the healing journey, even with the weight loss, even when you saw the beauty and all the transformation, if you see me in person, I still had that. But the key word that I'm sharing with you is that when you accept all of you and take all of you with you on the journey and continue to listen and do the work, that's the thing. You have to do the work. You got to do the work. And it's really about going as you are guided, taking the necessary steps and tools that it takes, getting coaching, um, getting counseling, prayer, meditation, journaling, seeking wise counsel, staying connected with you. The most important thing is you. Everything flows from that. And so you got to do the work. You got to do the work. I'll say that again. You got to do the work. You got to turn that mirror and get to know you. You got to turn that mirror and spend some time with you. Spend that quiet time with you. Get to know why you are triggered. And knowing why you are triggered, where those triggers are coming from. And not only where those triggers are coming from, but recognizing that and through time, releasing the heaviness of where that agreement came from. Many times we want to hold on to the weight of what triggered us because we think that if we hold on to it, that it's a shield, it's a protection. And I get it. But it's also a false truth. That is your defense talk mechanism talking. That is your fear talking. That is what is talking. And that gets in the way of us stepping into that alignment of truth. And so, with time, through meditation, through prayer, through really listening, you got to really listen, y'all. Listening is everything. And you have to recognize, tap within the Spirit of God. Many of us are so busy and we're so consumed with what is noisy that oftentimes it distracts us from ourselves. Many times God wants to speak But many of us are just scared to really get to know God intimately. And the more you know you, the more you're going to know God. The more you spend time with you, the more that you journal, the more that you go on your nature walks. That's my thing. That may not be yours. Whatever is your place of peace, true peace. Might be baths, might be taking a nap, and might be sitting still. But one thing you got to do, and that is you got to get to the matters of your heart. It is essential, it is important, and it is vital. And for many of you that has suppressed it and pushed it down, that is not going to work. You have to sit with you because you matter. And I'm here to share with you that if you do the work and if you stay diligent with it for you, those layers are going to fall off. And the scars, the shadows that you may have had through time will no longer be. Through time will no longer be. I know of many loved ones who have lived a very long time and still are imprisoned within themselves, still have not set themselves free from what they are captive within because they are not being honest with themselves. And so if you suppress that part of you, if you um, speak, say unkind things to that part of you, if you are judgmental to that part of you, really understand that. And I want you to recognize how you are really, if you're really mean and nasty to other people, if that is your get down, that really is your own self-reflection, like you really being mean and nasty to yourself. And so taking the distractions externally outside of you and really getting to the heart of you, to the matters of you, that takes work. That takes work. Your relationship is a reflection of you. It's a reflection of you. So if you want anything to become healthy in your life, you got to get to become healthy with you, all of you, all of you. Imagine accepting and loving all of you at all times, even if you're frustrated, even if you're tired, even if you're afraid. Imagine you telling yourself back to yourself that I love you. I'm frustrated today, but I still love you. I'm tired today, but you still matter. And I love you so much. I admire you. I see you growing every day. Imagine if you start speaking to the cells in your body. Imagine if you start speaking to the wounds in your body. Imagine if you start speaking to those dead bones in your body. Imagine as you started blossoming, just like this flower on my head. Imagine if you started cultivating and doing more of that. How the things will shed off of you. There's someone on this live who struggles with unworthiness because your mother struggled with unworthiness. For some of you on this live, you might be experiencing abandonment because of your experiences from your past. And many times, you guys were carrying things from other people because of what they said to us, because of what they did to us, or because of the messages we told ourselves. And we're carrying this stuff around us and it's just too heavy. So I want you to get into the habit, into the flow of shifting the chapter. Only if you're ready. Shifting the chapter of taking the step of walking in a new level of trust. Because for many of us, we think we have been trusting, but we really haven't. We've been micromanaging and we've been in control. That old part of us, we've been micromanaging. We have stuck with what we think is familiar. Oftentimes we might say, well, this is all I know. So because of the fact that this is all that I know, I'm familiar with this. And this feels familiar. Some of us can feel safe or familiarized, not necessarily safe, but more familiar with trauma. Familiar with trauma. And I want to share with you about really understanding that part of you. That's what I'm saying. Really getting to know you. Really sitting and getting to know you, because it is God who will reveal the truth about you. It is God who knows and does the surgery work in your heart. It is God who wants to heal the matters of your heart. It is through the Spirit that wants to reveal truth to you. Don't throw her away. Don't throw him away. Take him with you. Take her with you. We're doing this together. This time, as we're doing this together, we're taking God with us on the journey. We're allowing the Spirit to move through us, to do the healing work, to do the surgery work, as we accept all of it. As we recognize what our shadows are, let me fix my little crown. As we recognize what those shadows are, as we acknowledge them, as we sit with them, you might even cry, and it's okay. It's okay to not feel okay. It's okay to not feel safe. It's okay to be in that moment and feel vulnerable, and it's your first time. I don't know what this feels like. It's okay. Be honest with that moment. Be honest with you in that moment. Be honest where you are. This is where the flower blooms. This is where more of you evolves. This is where more of you expand. And to be honest, this is where that part of you starts showing the lower nature part of you, or the wounded part of you. You start introducing, it's like you're dating yourself. You start introducing that part of you to the old you. And you start telling her who she really is. You, in essence, become the parent over your mind. You might say, well, I didn't have a mother to show me the way. I didn't have a father to show me the way. But you have the Spirit within you who can lead you and guide you into the path of truth. You have me sharing this with you on this live to reveal the truth to you, to show you who you really are. So, your true identity is who God says you are. And I want you to know that you can take the part of you that is wounded, the part of you that felt broken. You don't have to put her away. You don't have to throw her away. It's important that you take both of you with you on the journey. And that's all that I have. I have a little technical difficulties in the beginning. But that's all that I have for today. So far, I didn't see any questions in the comments, but y'all, that's it. That is it. I want to thank you guys for tuning in. And yeah, y'all. I would see you guys later. If you guys would like coaching on helping you in that matter, I definitely will leave my description at the bottom of the caption, and you can always hit me up. You guys know where I am. You know how to reach me. That's all that I have. Bye.